2020. I will be your host for the next couple of hours. I'm TJ Cook. I'm the Executive Director at ABQID and Fund Manager for ABQID Fund. Both are powered by CNM Ingenuity, and right now I'm in the wonderful CNM Stimulus Center in downtown Albuquerque to get away from the kids for this event. Love those guys, but you know how it is. And also to showcase all the cool stuff we have going down here and get some great bandwidth as well. CNM Stimulus Center and CNM Ingenuity are really about innovation, especially around technology. We have over 8 coding boot camps that are training the next generation of tech workers for Albuquerque and all of New Mexico and beyond. We also have, through what we do at ABQID, several entrepreneurial programs and events that we run to help connect, inspire, educate entrepreneurs for what they need to succeed and how to get their companies to the next level. And right now you are logged in to Balloon Pitch 2020, which is one of those key ways we add that connectivity on this call. And we wanted to keep it a Zoom call. We wanted to be collegial and things like that. And I'm seeing 5 screens here, which is amazing on my computer, which means people in New Mexico love entrepreneurship, and we got some good stuff going on, and you're supporting your team, your company, etc. Glad to have everybody here. In a moment, I'll introduce a special guest speaker we have to welcome everybody as well. But for now, I wanted to say, Balloon Pitch, this is all about connecting and showcasing, connecting New Mexico startups to capital in the form of angel investors and venture capital here in New Mexico and outside. Most of our judges are coming in from outside the state to join us today. And then to showcase citizens of New Mexico, check out these companies, check out what they're doing, the innovations they're bringing to the market from New Mexico. It's one of the most inspiring things about my job is to meet folks who are doing amazing things every day. This is just 10 of the ones that I've been able to get to meet, but today you get to meet them too through their pitches. So just so excited to have everybody here. We'll run through a little bit of housekeeping before the pitches start, but we have a couple of special guests to kick some things off and inspire us before the pitches begin. And one of those special guests come from the city of Albuquerque. Why I'm honored to introduce you to Cynthia Jaramillo is that the city of Albuquerque is what gave ABQID its start. Their support in 2014 launched an accelerator program that birthed 30 companies into the world. I joined in 2017, and since then have launched programs like Hyperspace Challenge, Activate New Mexico, Balloon Pitch as a balance to Ski Lift Pitch, which is another event you absolutely should know about. But we would not be here without the city of Albuquerque and its support for entrepreneur-led economic development. So I want to give the floor to Cynthia to welcome us all. Hey, Cynthia.
Good morning, or good afternoon, rather. Good afternoon, TJ, and thank you for that kind introduction. I'd like to thank ABQID and all of the entrepreneurs and startups that are participating in today's Balloon Pitch. I am very excited for today's virtual Balloon Pitch 2020 event, and would like to wish good luck to all the extraordinary entrepreneurs who are delivering their pitches today. Real quick, before I introduce our guest speaker, I'd like to share 2 overarching points that I believe guide the City of Albuquerque's economic development vision and action around our small business community and Albuquerque's and New Mexico's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Number 1, the work being done today by Mayor Tim Keller and my department has been informed by decades of work that has been done by organizations like ABQID, small businesses and startups and entrepreneurs just like you. Number 2, very important to this administration is that current initiatives are being driven first and foremost by and through a lens of equity and inclusion. Now, we firmly believe that connectivity between the entrepreneur and small business support institutions is critical to our entire community's success. And that's why we have prioritized strategies to bolster those connections for startups, for entrepreneurs, and small businesses that despite previous best efforts may still feel left out of this ecosystem. And there are a number of things that I could talk about that we have implemented to drive this vision. But there are a couple of things that I'll highlight. I won't talk about everything. We created the first small business office to be the central point of entry at City Hall for Albuquerque entrepreneurs and businesses. Now, it is designed to directly support business owners and entrepreneurs to help them navigate the city ecosystem. And the number two, just 2 weeks ago, we announced the creation of the Albuquerque Minority Business Assistance Center that will be located just south of downtown. And again, and number three, to implement this vision, a continued partnership with ABQID and other organizations like ABQID are very important to the city of Albuquerque. And I believe at this time, it is my privilege to introduce a man who believes in building an economy that works and supports everyone. That is my boss and Mayor Tim Keller.
Welcome everyone to the third annual ABQID Balloon Fiesta Pitch Contest. Now lots of things of course are closed right now, like our baseball stadium and our Balloon Fiesta, but we're still doing it virtually. And so the winner still gets a balloon ride too. So it's going to be a great event. I want to thank everyone who's involved with it, the contestants and everyone who helps judge and staff the project. And we're going to continue everything that ABQID does, whether it's virtual or in person, including the ski lift pitch and hopefully back to normal next year.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mayor Keller and Director Jaramillo. Glad to be really aligned in that vision to democratize entrepreneurship wherever it comes from, whoever it comes from. It's about building and scaling companies that create opportunities that lead to prosperity. So fantastic. I love this job, love this work, and happy to have your support as well. Be a part of it, small part of it, but a part of it. To hear from someone outside the city, outside the state, he spent some time here, but we want to give the floor to one of the outside New Mexico investors who've been the most active in New Mexico to explain a little bit why invest in New Mexico. So happy to introduce you all to sponsor and also serving through Kickstart, having a judge as well involved in the competition. Have you get to know and hear from Gavin Christensen, partner founder at Kickstart Seed Fund. So Gavin, please welcome, say a few words.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm going to try to share my screen, see if that works here. I'm honored to be here and, virtually as we're doing everything these days. I thought it would be, every time, I do something like this, especially in New Mexico, it is sort of memory lane for me. So excited to kind of share a few thoughts about, why we're really excited about New Mexico. So I can get into present mode here. Why we're really excited about New Mexico at Kickstart, and say a few words to the entrepreneurs who are the lifeblood of this movement here. I just want to say thanks to ABQID and all the sponsors and investors and entrepreneurs, and for pushing forward in an uncertain time, in a time that we're all kind of wondering what the world looks like. But the great thing about entrepreneurs is they move forward with hope and with resiliency, and most of you feel like, hey, there hasn't ever been a better situation to launch a company, and I would tend to agree, and I think that's true in New Mexico right now. So a couple thoughts for you. First, on New Mexico, what I've seen is kind of the evolution. I've been an investor in New Mexico since about 2003. Many of you on the on the call here have invested longer than that, but it does give me some perspective about what we've seen, and then some lessons that I've seen from other ecosystems that we've been involved in building and being part of. So first, my memory lane. This is kind of me a few years ago. Heading out from business school to live in the East Mountains of New Mexico. These are teenagers now. They're actually at home doing virtual school, so we're reminded every day they're a lot bigger in this and a lot bigger problem. But these two little rugrats, it was pretty funny to go back. And this is up at, of course, you would recognize on the crest, looking out. And I was really excited to come to New Mexico as part of another venture firm, and at the time invest in clean tech. But this is kind of where the Kickstart journey began. I had been thinking about a seed fund, and coming to New Mexico, I really was able to kind of socialize the idea of one of the first seed funds to really focus on the West, and started there in the East Mountains of Albuquerque, invested all around the West, but the center of gravity eventually drew me to Utah, where the ecosystem was maybe just a little more prime to support something like Kickstart. And what's happened is you see the progression of Kickstart. That first fund that we raised was actually $4 million. And this is for you entrepreneurs out there, it was $4 million for like 2 years. And then it was $8 million. But we were able to prove enough that we then could raise a $26 million fund, and then a $39 million fund, and then a 74. And this latest has been 110. And I'm really excited that we were all the time. I had such great relationships in New Mexico from my time, living there for 5 years, that we were always kind of saying, okay, when is New Mexico ready for us to start to do some of the same things that we saw and participated in Utah? And as of Fund 4, we started to talk to the state investment committee and get, we'd done some New Mexico deals prior, but really get more involved in what was going on. And super excited about the momentum that New Mexico has, and we'll talk more about that. So, it was interesting to look just historically at some of the dollars and the deals since, sort of my time observing New Mexico. And, as is the case for these non-coastal markets, and that's kind of where that's our bread and butter. That's, we love underdogs. We feel like we're underdogs ourselves. And so this is where we choose to spend our careers. But, these recessions are not kind typically to these non-coastal markets. You can kind of see the Great Recession left a mark on New Mexico, and it took a while to recover. Same thing in some of our other markets, but it's recovered strongly now. And, it's in this data, of course, is a little imperfect, but I think it shows you a gradual trend of critical mass, which we love to see in New Mexico. Some high profile deals recently that we actually are not in, just to kind of give them some airtime, some really exciting things, some innovation. And this is kind of what we love about New Mexico is, there's stuff in New Mexico you won't find anywhere else. It's a unique culture. It's a unique people. It's a unique view of what the future of America looks like in terms of a melting pot of cultures and dreams of what America might be. And I think that's reflected in the companies. There's a wide variety here, and biotech to art, meets tech, which is really fun. And that's what we're looking for is deal flow in New Mexico we can't find anywhere else, and that gets us excited to spend 5 to 10 years working with those entrepreneurs to build that reality. And finally, just a few thoughts about ecosystem building. One of the beautiful things about being a seed fund investor is that if you want to be successful, you can't just build a firm, you can't just write checks. You actually have to lean in and help build an ecosystem. You can't win without the ecosystem winning as well. And we think that's true in New Mexico. And wow, we're not on the ground there like many of you. And so we're going to need a lot of, the support of the hard work that's happening to be successful there. But we feel like this is, some of the things that I thought about that matter that we've seen in Utah and, Colorado and Arizona that we think are starting to, things like ABQID. We have, the Catalyst program, I think, has been huge for seeding the next generation of investors that are collaborative, that really want to help these entrepreneurs along. And then, this is an unprecedented season. I take calls all day long from people running from the Bay Area, running from New York, kind of saying, hey, I'm done. I'm smoked out. I'm priced out. And they're, where are they going? They're coming to the West. They're coming to Colorado. They're coming to Utah, and they're coming to New Mexico. I think Albuquerque was number 2, where people were going, which is really exciting. because a lot of that, senior talent that sometimes it is hard for a company to scale without is going to be coming, because the lifestyle that you all enjoy is going to blow their minds. Often these coastal cities, it's like living in the Middle Ages compared to what you can live like, as we all know, in the West, and people are discovering that. So it's a real huge draw. So I think it's a really interesting time for New Mexico from that standpoint. So in conclusion, I would say, what a great time, this pandemic is disruptive for everybody, but when you're getting started, you're an entrepreneur, that's beautiful, because you're the disruptor. And so you've got something doing that for you and creating opportunities. I think the capital is here now, the talent is flowing in, and there's a whole kind of, ecosystem support here to help you be successful. So, hey, there's a bunch of investors on here that are ready to write checks. We're certainly one of those. We're excited, and best of luck to everybody today. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Gavin. As my colleague Dan Heron likes to say, snaps and claps. See some support for what Gavin was talking about. Can't agree more that now is the time. I think you said something that resonated. Now is a great time. I think of the word great in a very deep sense. It's great. It is immense in import for our country, for our economy. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but this is a time for entrepreneurs. And we're going to be here. That's why we did this event, didn't cancel it. We pivoted. We're going to be here for entrepreneurs, and I know all the investors here are going to be here for these entrepreneurs. So speaking of which, we want you to get to know who's judging this year. We have 21 fantastic judges. So I'm going to hand it off to Harold Lavender to talk a little bit about the field and give you a little video to let you get to know the judges.
Good morning, everybody. I did the same thing Cynthia did. Good afternoon, everybody. Time flies when you're having fun. I'm Harold Lavender, Director of Business Development at ABQID, powered by CNM Ingenuity. I want to add my hearty welcome to Balloonfish 2020 to each of you. My fun task this afternoon is to pay homage to our sponsors and then to invite you to watch a video of the sponsors and judges introducing themselves to you, along with a personal note about their favorite place and or activity. Our principal sponsor is Rook Financial. Also sponsoring are Crosslink Capital, Sorensen Capital, Kickstart Fund, the Armstrong Humphrey Group of Merrill Lynch, Sun Mountain Capital, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, and Wells Fargo. Special mention goes to Barra Winery and Hotel Andalus, both of which were keys to the success of this event the first 2 years, and were scheduled to host this year before COVID forced us to change our plans. We were unable to add three of the video clips to the master. So I will add a few small comments. Brian Burke, is CEO of Sun Mountain Capital, has long been a supporter of ABQID events, and we are really pleased that Sun Mountain has chosen to be one of our sponsors again this year. For two judges, David Bliven, CEO of Cottonwood Technology Fund, is another member of our awesome array of judges, as is David Selden with Anzu Partners in New York City. Anzu is an investor in New Mexico as well. Thank you to each of you for being willing to be with us today. Your support has made this event happen. Here's the video.
Hi, my name is Bert Roberts. I'm a partner at Sorensen Capital Partners here in Salt Lake City. Sorensen is a growth fund focused in enterprise software and healthcare. Those are two areas that I focus on as well. My favorite activities are trail running and snowboarding here in the mountains in Utah, and our favorite place would certainly be the desert in southern Utah. It's great to be part of the balloon pitch and look forward to meeting you all during the event.
Hey everybody, this is Dan Brooks with Sun Mountain Capital in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I focus primarily on New Mexico-based businesses, and areas of interest lately for me have been Internet of Things as well as technological solutions for this new post-COVID world we're living in. My favorite place to be is New Mexico in the fall, thanks to great events like the ABQID Balloon Lift Pitch. Can't wait to get to know everybody a little bit better and see some of the great companies, so glad to be here.
Hello everyone, this is Gavin Christensen. I'm the founder and managing partner of Kickstart Seed Fund, and really excited to be part of this balloon pitch this year, one of the judges, and
always have a soft spot in my heart for New Mexico after living there for 5 years myself. And I would say, in terms of a personal note, it's been an interesting, last 6-7 months for us, like it has been for all of you and the whole world. One bright spot for us is we bought a little travel trailer and we spent a lot of great time in the outdoors and making memories as a family and just really enjoying the beautiful American West and Southwest. Anyway, hope you're all well.
Hello, my name is Joel Long, CEO of Rook Advisors. We solve business and technology problems for private equity in the SMB markets. My favorite place is Hoffen, Iceland.
Hi, this is Nathan Armstrong with the Armstrong Humphrey Group at Merrill Lynch, where we help investors make informed decisions. Congratulations on being part of Balloon Pitch 2020. Good luck and keep up the great work.
Hi everyone, this is McLean from Crosslink Capital in the San Francisco Bay Area. I am super honored to be a participant in this year's Balloon Pitch competition. As a firm, we are also super honored to be a sponsor of this year's event. This is my first one. I'm on one of my favorite places in the world, here at the ranch, but I also spend a lot of time down in the British Virgin Islands where I like to kiteboard. Here on the ranch, though, my activity is ATVing.
Hello, I'm Juanita Tuttle, Managing Partner at Tramway Ventures. We invest in life sciences and healthcare. I love to travel. Not doing too much of that these days, but looking forward to getting back to it before too long. Today I'm looking forward to some great presentations.
Hi, I am Tom Nikoloff, co-founder and managing director of Bluestone Venture Partners with offices in Santa Fe and Tucson. Our Life Science Innovation and Technology Fund is focused on early stage healthcare and life science investment.
Hello all, this is Stu Rose, bank robber. In addition to that, I work with the Bioscience Center and Fat Pipe, New Mexico. My areas of investment interest are anything that is massively disruptive. By that I mean early stage companies which, if successful, will put other companies out of business.
Hey everybody, my name is Tanner Potter. I'm with Kickstart Seed Fund. I focus on ed tech, marketplace businesses, and consumer products. My favorite place in the world, let's see, I'm going to go with the Serengeti in Tanzania.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathan McDonald with Kretsu Capital and Kretsu Forum. Excited to be here today and great to meet everybody. My favorite hobby is fishing, which I don't get a chance to do enough of these days, and I love doing that in the San Juan. So looking forward to a chance to meet everybody.
Hi there, my name is Marissa Marr. I'm with RPS Ventures based in Palo Alto. We focus on mid to growth stage technology companies across all industries. In my free time, I probably most enjoy golfing.
Hi, my name is Melinda Gagnon from Uprise Partners. My area of interest in investing is high tech and energy. My favorite places are Maine. Also love New Mexico. I have family there. And a favorite hobby is scuba diving.
Hi, I'm Lina Green. I'm the CEO of Angels of Impact, and we invest into women and Indigenous-led community-based enterprises. My favorite hobby is snorkeling, and my favorite location is Kealakekua Bay in Hawaii, especially when the dolphins come around.
Hello, I'm John B. Strong. I'm an angel investor. I have about a dozen investments. Most of them are in healthcare, consumer products, blockchain technology, and entertainment.
Hello, my name is Hall Martin. I'm the founder of 10 Capital. I focus on investing in tech, healthcare, and consumer product goods. My favorite place is Austin, Texas.
Hey everybody, Dorian Rader, Managing Partner of NMA Ventures. And not only do I love being in the outdoors, I will be watching your pitches from the mountains today. Good luck.
Hi, my name is Don Kirby. I'm with Aspen Vista Capital. We focus on startup companies in the Southwest region, particular emphasis on material sciences and software as SaaS modeling. Favorite activities, skiing and golf. Look forward to speaking with everyone. Thanks.
Hi, I'm David McKinney. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur, and I'm joining you from Yakima, located in central Washington State. I'm thrilled to be part of this year's Balloon Pitch, and I'm looking forward to meeting each of you soon.
Hi, I'm Brian Burns. I'm a partner and founder with Greyhawk Capital, and I was hoping to get a haircut before this selfie video, but that's not going to happen. Greyhawk's a Phoenix-based venture capital fund, investing primarily in Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, the Southwest, and great to take part in this event.
Hey guys, Ben Marins here. I'm an angel investor in New York City. I'm a scout for a number of VC firms, and I focus on B2B software as well as e-commerce software and technology that's consumer facing that I think has a massive impact on society. One of my favorite places I've ever been to is South Africa. The safari was incredible, but I'm really looking forward to everyone's pitch. Good luck.
Hi, my name is Zach Jonason. I'm a co-founder and general partner at Phoenix Venture Partners, PVP. We're a venture capital firm that focuses on industrial technologies. At PVP, I lead our focus area in the life sciences, particularly in synthetic biology and other areas of healthcare diagnostics. Let's see, it's something I enjoy. I really enjoy the Pacific Northwest, standing under my apple trees, and thoroughly enjoy fly fishing with my children. Thank you, and good luck in the competition.
All right. Well, thank you, judges and investors sending in those little videos. I think it's just so great to get to know the people behind firms, and hopefully some of our companies here and participants were taking notes. Oh, they do life sciences. Oh, they do that. Oh, he likes kiteboarding. So fantastic to have everybody honored. This is the most judges we've ever had for an event. One of those great silver linings of COVID is that we're connected wherever we are. Okay, thanks again, and hope you enjoyed that. I want to now get to the main event. This is what it's all about. It's time to hear 10 pitches. Here's how it's gonna work. We've got, what we did is try to keep it simple. So our competitors will be going in alphabetical order. They already made it through a rigorous process to get here. We're not gonna complexify it anymore by messing with order. We're gonna keep it alphabetical. We had everybody submit a 5-minute pitch video by Monday that we've spliced together along with an intro and outro sequence to help you get to know the founders and the teams behind these companies. But the bread and butter is a 5-minute pitch video that our judges will be scoring using a common rubric that has been shared with the teams as well as all the judges. So everybody knows exactly how the scoring is going to go. The winner will receive $5,000 non-dilutive cash and a balloon ride in the balloon bounce, thanks to a friend of ABQID. And thanks for Harold for hustling that, because it's hard to find a balloon even when Balloon Fiesta isn't going. Second place will get $2,500, and third place will get $1,500. But one more thing. We today have pulled together a crowd favorite prize. So, and this is where you all come in. Judges, you can't vote here, so you get your own voting. But everybody else, everybody's a fan, everybody who's a fan of entrepreneurship, I want you to listen closely to all 10 pitches. And then at the end, Dan, the man with a plan on Zoom, is going to open up a poll for about 3 minutes to get crowd favorites. And the crowd favorite will get, of course, bragging rights for being named crowd favorite by the slew of awesome people we have on the call today, and also a $200 gift card. So happy to have that little bit of interaction to add a little spice to our agenda today. Let's see. Finally, after the 5-minute pitches, 5 or 6 judges have been asked to be the Q&A judges for each team. So not every judge is going to need to pop in a question. It'd be a little bit overwhelming with all of our judges we have. So we've asked the judges to be on hand. We have 3 minutes of Q&A after each pitch, at which point we'll just chunk right along and get to each pitch. Q&A session, pitch, Q&A session. I encourage us all, listen to the types of questions that the judges ask. This is a great learning opportunity. And right in the middle, after the 5th pitch and before the 6th, we're gonna have one more special guest pop in and say a few words about New Mexico. We're going to enjoy that. But with no further ado, I want to get into it. Let's hear from our first competitor, Apogee Spirulina.
Spirulina, the way we grow it, we were taught by the French, artisan, small scale, high quality, but also our end product. It's a sprinkle, it's not a powder. 90% of the spirulina sold in the United States comes from China, and it's sold as a powder. Our spirulina tastes great, good for you. The sun is rising, on the algae market worldwide. Algae is being used in foods, additive in toothpaste, food coloring, makeup. It's everywhere, more places than people think. In the United States, it's been considered a superfood for many years or a dietary supplement. We're kind of looking to change that. We now need a high nutritious food. Spirulina meets those targets. It's high in protein, about 60% on average, and it's nutrient dense. Our way we grow our spirulina is low tech, low resource production process. It's also makes for a great healthy diet. Sustainability. Our farm is incredibly sustainable. People have this misconception of algae using quite a bit of water. It's actually the complete opposite. As we grow our spirulina within greenhouses, we minimize water use. And also our footprint is very much smaller than one would think, and to produce that high-grade spirulina. Our sales have been rising steadily over the last few years. This year, because of COVID, we've had a bump. We see 2021 as being a very good year for us. Our mission and where we would like to be is the Ben and Jerry's of algae. Thank you.
Thank you, Apogee, and I'm going to hand it right over to the investors for 3 minutes of Q&A. I'll be timing on my phone here. In about 30 seconds left, I will show the timer so you can all get to it. So, with no further ado, Q&A begins now.
Hi, yeah, this is Dan Brooks from Sun Mountain Capital, and I was just hoping to get a little bit better of an understanding of the market size that you see for this product and how many competitors you've currently identified in that space, and what the typical market share is for those competitors.
Okay, right now worldwide, the algae market is worth $2.6 billion, and it's going to be increasing to about 3.5 by 2025. That's a projection. Spirulina presently, actually in 2018, was about roughly 350 million in sales, and it's looking to go to 780 by 2026. In the US, competition is we have two large farms. They're about 100 acres each. One's down in Southern California, and the other one's on the Big Island, Hawaii. But once again, like the Asian spirulina, they're selling powder. And as I'm selling sprinkles, it's a unique way of processing it. So the real competition I look at is a company out of, they're from LA, but it's actually, the spirulina is grown in Costa Rica. So it's not grown in the States. So there's only, like I said, it's myself and a handful of smaller cultivators right now growing it and processing it as a sprinkle.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. I think I'm next. So just following on Dan's question, can you talk a little bit about your cost of goods and how that compares to your competition, particularly China, where you said 90% of the market, or they own 90% of the market there. And I understand you have a different form factor, but maybe just to talk a little about the cost comparison. Okay, the way I like to describe it to people is like $3 Chuck and Chateauneuf du Pape. And, we pride ourselves on really growing a product that's high end. Our water's tested regularly for metals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which out of China, they've been having a lot of issues with contaminants and spirulina coming into this country. And so I really don't consider Chinese spirulina my competition. I'm looking more towards what's being sold in the United States and those guys that I just mentioned down in Costa Rica. That's my competition. So is the U.S. market about 35 million? Is that the right math there? It's roughly a little bit more than that in the U.S. For U.S. right producers. Yeah. And would you say that then part of the strategy here is really around branding? It's the sustainability, it's the unique form factor. That is part of it, but also there's all these co-products that you can create out of spirulina, energy bars, drinks. So it's just not spirulina itself. And that's why people have to open their eyes to it. And there's a couple other products I have in the pipeline, but I really don't want to mention them right now. So IP. So thank you. And then we have some creative ideas.
Cutting up awesome stuff. A couple of great questions. 3 minutes does go fast, judges. So, but great questions. Awesome job, Apogee. Give them snaps and claps. And with no
Thank
further
you.
ado, we're going to move quick today. Let's welcome Be Public for our
Hi,
pitch number 2.
I'm Edie Dillman. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO, and we are Be Public Prefab. Be Public Prefab is a public benefit corporation based in New Mexico, disrupting the green building sector. Our tagline is Imagine Building Differently, because we are not just a brand or our products. We are here to flip how architects, builders, and developers think, design, and build new homes in North America. As co-founders, we came to this venture with 75 years of well-rounded experience. Jonah Stanford as an architect and a passive house practitioner, Charlotte Lagarde as an activist, business owner, and an award-winning film producer, and myself, Edie Dillman, as a designer and business leader in both the profit and nonprofit world. So imagine with us building differently, with building blocks rather than stick by stick. Imagine high performance that equals human comfort in all seasons, with 90% less energy used. Truly homes that are nearly net zero before any solar is added. Comfort and any solar is added. Comfort and conservation is our next gen of green. Our system is based on the principle of the passive house that has been in practice for 30 years in Germany and is adopted across the world as the low energy pathway and is a growing trend in the US. We are offering this standard with less waste, super comfort, health benefits, and great design. So let's talk about just how green and why prefab and why we're focused on the housing market. When we step back and look at the big picture, when we look at the annual CO2 emissions, 23% of those carbon emissions come from transportation versus 40% from buildings. 40% of that, 28% come from the heating and the cooling and the running of the buildings we live and work in. 11% of that 40% comes from the embodied carbon of the materials we choose to build with. We at Be Public are addressing the operational and the embodied carbon footprint in a big way, like very few companies are. First, we understand the greatest positive environmental impacts come through conservation. It is always cheaper to require less energy than produce energy. We at Be Public plan for long-term performance from the start, conservation first in our product development, our design. Most buildings built to this standard only require a very small heating system, something like a hairdryer. Or put in another way, they only lose a couple of degrees overnight in the middle of winter with no heat on at all. Second, we build with renewables, safe and recycled materials. We prefabricate our panels built with sustainable wood. Our insulation is 86% recycled newspaper and outperforms fiberglass for protection as well as soundproofing. We use smart materials for our weather barrier and air tightness layer and air sealing. So very cool materials, very cool stuff, paired with old world craftsmanship. So killer building science and material science built to last for generations, like the adobes we see across New Mexico. So why does prefab matter, or off-site construction matter? It saves up to 90% of building waste. Prefab is a measured approach to materials, eliminating loss and maximizing efficiencies. Site panelized construction minimizes risks for local builders and for the material exposure on site from rain, snow, and rain, and reduces construction time by 30%. Faster up and weathered in means we can continue to build year-round and answer that housing demand. Why are we focused on housing? Simple. The need is so great, and there's a deficit of new home construction since all the way back in 2008 with the crash. And unfortunately, that need has only grown during COVID and the fires, especially a need for healthy homes that have exceptional indoor air quality. So we are here to serve that market. Exceptional indoor air quality. So we are here to serve that market. Having launched our products and services in January of this year, we are very pleased to share that we are working with clients across the country, helping build radically sustainable structures from backyard casitas all the way to multifamily developments. We are focused in these first few years, getting to our first 250 homes and scaling this company. And every day, our client base grows. So as we grow our clients and our partners and our builders, we look to you. We really hope you will look at your Rolodex and connect us with people that you think we should be talking to and connecting with to disrupt, positively disrupt, the building sector. So thank you so much for your time. And
thank you, ABQID. We're so pleased to be a part of the balloon pitch this year. Good luck to everybody involved. We look forward to talking more.
Fantastic pitch by Be Public Prefabs. Thank you, Edie, and apologies for on our end a couple little glitches there in the video, not your all's. All right, judges, 3 minutes for Q&A begins now.
Thanks for a great presentation. I wonder if you could tell us how many homes that you've built to date and how you're generating sales and interest.
Happy to. So my partner, Jonah Stanford's going to answer that one. He's here in the same room as me.
Hi, this is Jonah Stanford. The Be Public is actually just starting its first generation of panel manufacturing now. We've got 2 projects that are breaking ground this winter. But we have been using the process for the last 4 years to date. This is the first launch of the Be Public components, though.
And you asked how we're reaching clients. We've been very fortunate. We've had some nice editorial pickup, both locally, and we were in a Forbes article around, strangely, what was wrong with prefab. And from that, we've gotten connected with architects and builders and developers across the country interested in both prefab and prefab to this very high standard of low energy, low embodied carbon. So we have been incredibly fortunate for many things coming through in websites. And of course, events like this are very important to us reaching builders and developers who are interested.
I have a question. I looked at a panelized product similar to this, 2006, 2007. The challenge that I ran into was that the contractors would build too much contingency into working with unknown products, which affected my cost, and it also affected my financeability of a project. Can you address that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy to. You know, builders are the crux of this, and we really think that we are developing a system for them. You know, we are dependent on the local builders embracing this change and incorporating into their estimating a huge portion of the build. So this is the structural sheathing, framing, the weather barrier, the air barrier, and it comes fully insulated to site. So we are very actively seeking those builder partners who are already involved in high performance, and that's who we're marketing directly to and working with. Because you bet, it's a big ship to turn, and we're running out of time. So yes, we hear you, and we know that, and so we're going straight to the builders and doing education and working with them directly. Thank you.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about your supply chain, you know, which parts of, you know, the manufacturing to the transportation to the actual building and construction do you guys own? You know, who do you guys work with on that end, and where is everything produced?
And that's all the time we have. So there's a great reason to connect here after. Thank you. And again, 3 minutes goes fast. Want to honor, try to give some time, but also not make a 5-hour balloon pitch. So thanks everybody. Great job, Be Public, Edie and team. We are now going to transition to our third competitor, Free Range.
1 out of 7 Americans own cryptocurrency. And as of today, all national banks are now approved to manage cryptocurrency on behalf of their customers. But no turnkey solutions exist for banks. As founding experts in the industry, Free Range knows exactly how banks are regulated when it comes to cryptocurrency. We saw an opportunity to create a turnkey solution for banks to manage crypto. We built a compliance and custody solution that helps banks generate accounts, manage keys, and visualize risk at incredible scale. By the way, if you haven't already, check out demo.freeran.ge. Again, that is demo.freeran.ge. It will either help you understand what we're talking about or completely distract you. Here's how it works. Banks leverage their existing compliance teams and existing vault infrastructure. Store keys offline on these little devices you see on the bottom of your screen. The system is built on top of the most compliant open source protocols in the industry today. Free range is designed for geographic redundancy. In times of global conflict, you would not want to store your crypto anywhere else. What's our experience? We understand the rules and regulations behind this. Free range has been involved in this industry since 2018. We built one of the most popular apps on Ethereum with users spanning from almost every continent. Our risk analytics tools have processed over 500 million transactions. Our customers for digital asset risk management include Sandia National Laboratories. We have extensive public policy experience in both Colorado and Wyoming, giving public testimony numerous times. Let's talk about the competition. There is a fundamental difference between free range and everybody else. We strongly believe in the saying, not your keys, not your crypto. Free range, banks manage their customers' keys in-house without needing to use a third-party custodian. Our systems are easier to use, more secure, and less expensive. What's our current status? Prototype works. We've been doing demos with potential customers and been getting amazing feedback. Our biggest hurdle being from New Mexico is the lack of fintech connections. Investment funding is one thing, but we need the right connections to take this project to the next level. If that person is you, get in here and join us. Let's take over the world. I'm Joseph Pitluck, CEO Free Range. Thank you.
All right, with the little skying at the end there. Thank you, Free Range. Thank you, Joe. The 3 minutes of Q&A begins now.
Wonderful.
Don't all pile in at once.
Hey, this is Dave Levin. I'll ask a question. This is not an area I understand that well, but my understanding of cryptocurrencies is one of the benefits is it's unregulated and not part of any banking system or any national sort of underwritten currency. So are U.S. banks even allowed to support an unregulated currency?
If you can hear me, as of July, the OCC has authorized for all national banks to be able to custody cryptocurrency.
Any cryptocurrency?
That takes a little bit of a talk with regulators. There's some privacy coins that would most likely not be allowed to be managed, but generally most other cryptocurrencies, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So what is your monetization strategy?
We have a subscription model and also a shared fee model as well.
And what do you propose to charge as a subscription fee on a monthly or annual basis?
Well, we actually had an agreement with an entity where they were charging their clients $2,000 to open an account, and the agreement was we were going to take half of those fees.
Are most of the people you're talking to, are they new installs, or are you replacing an existing system?
Our systems are designed to complement banks' existing systems. It's simply an additional layer that we add on.
And Joe, are you going after the regional banks, credit unions? I assume the large mega banks, global banks, probably working on their own solution. Can you speak to your target customer?
We really are U.S. focused, and again, there's no solutions on the market at all for this. With the OCC announcement, it caught everybody completely by surprise. We thought it'd be solely Wyoming, but essentially, we think the first adoptions with this will be generally private wealth management with banks.
Okay.
Joseph, do you guys handle all the regulatory approvals on your end, or does the bank have to go through a bunch of hurdles?
We would love to hold hands with banks and talk to regulators directly with them. We have great relationships with regulators on a personal level, and we know exactly what needs to be done, and we're happy to guide. We're happy to be the pilot for that all the way through.
But the bank still has to get approved. They can't just use your approval.
With National Charter, they actually are approved. You essentially need to talk to the regulators and go, you need to show them how you're actually going to manage and store cryptocurrency.
Sorry to butt in, but that is the time we have for Q&A. Some great questions there and great engagement. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Free Range, and thank you, judges. We're going on. Steady clip here, and thank you all for being ready to ask those questions. Let's introduce our next company. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Eric Prosnitz, and I'm here with CEO John Elling to present the technology developed by GPR G1 Development Group.
GPR G1 is developing a novel therapeutic for the treatment of diabetes and obesity. We're targeting the G-coupled protein estrogen receptor, GPER, that Dr. Prosnitz discovered and is characterized at the University of New Mexico. We've licensed the technology, we're seed funded, and we received about $300,000 in an NIH grant. My name is John Elling. I'm the CEO of the company. I've been a technology entrepreneur in northern New Mexico for more than 20 years now. Dr. Prosnitz at the University of New Mexico is coordinating the science, and Andrea Garcia is our COO. Diabetes and the underlying obesity is a major medical issue in the first world. It's a significant contributor to death annually with a huge economic burden. The market for diabetes treatment is about $50 billion annually. About half of that is spent in the United States, and that's expected to increase to $78 billion globally by 2026. There are 4 major classes of drugs that are used to treat diabetes, and all of these have significant impediments to use, including some very nasty side effects. Our opportunity is to introduce a 5th new class of drugs to treat diabetes by targeting the GPER receptor. The G1 agonist against that receptor in preliminary animal testing at the University of New Mexico has treated diabetes by improving insulin sensitivity and stabilizing blood glucose. In these trials, G1 modulates the energy use of the animals. It increases the energy use of the animals without increasing their food intake or making them hyperactive, so they lose weight. This works, we believe, by targeting brown fat. Now, everybody has brown fat. In infants, it's used to keep them warm. In adults, it becomes inactive. The G1 compound against this target seems to reactivate brown fat in adults. Now, this is a unique new target for treating diabetes that has the potential of really overcoming the limitations or bypassing the limitations of the current classes of drugs. In particular, G1 is orally available, and insulin and some of the other treatments require injection, so it'll be much more easily adopted by the patients. G1, we've also seen, has multiple treatment opportunities for cardiovascular disease and liver disease, and of course directly in obesity. Obesity in and of itself is a major unmet medical need, and the pharmaceutical companies have not done very well in introducing treatments for it. The science and the animal trials to date has been published in Science Translational Medicine earlier this year. This article and all the supporting data is available if you'd like to see it. Just let us know. The University of New Mexico's patents include composition of matter patents on G1 and the other compounds they found that bind this receptor. These are about 10 years old. In the last year, we received method patents for targeting the GPER receptor for metabolic indications, and we also have a trademark application for G1 use in type 2 diabetes. So as you can see, we have some very broad and some very long-lived intellectual property. This is a fairly low-risk drug startup because the G1 compound is already in phase 1 clinical trials by another company, Linnaeus Pharmaceuticals, for the oncology indications that they've licensed. This means that G1 has already been through the preclinical testing and in a successful IND application once. That gives us a lot of confidence that there are no ADME and tox surprises waiting for us as we repeat this process. We also know that this is really going to facilitate our IND application because the FDA is already very familiar with this compound. Right now, we're focusing on executing our grant. A company in Philadelphia has synthesized 100 grams of the compound for us. It's being separated into its isomers. The active isomer is going to be sent to some contract testers for ADME and tox testing. The data is going to go into a phase 2 STTR proposal that might be worth as much as $2 million towards the testing for an IND application. Again, we don't expect any problems in these tests because the compound has already been through this testing once for the oncology indications. In addition to working on the grant, we're talking to pharmaceutical companies who are very interested in this opportunity. We've signed a material transfer agreement with one large company, and they are going to be testing G1 alongside us. We're going to be able to use their data and their commercial interest to fortify our NIH phase 2 application. We're also going to be raising about $200,000, which we're going to invest in some consultants to help us navigate the pharmaceutical licensing discussions, as well as some consultants that are familiar with the FDA process and can correctly describe the testing that we need to do in phase 2 towards an IND application. In summary, we're very excited. We have a first-in-class drug that's targeting a significant unmet medical need, and we have a low-risk path to clinical trials. I hope you agree.
Thank you for joining us today. We would like to open it up for a short Q&A session.
Oh, hello. This is David Selden from Anzu Partners. It sounds like you don't understand the mechanism of action, though. Can you shed some light on that?
Sure. This is Eric Prosnitz. So this is an agonist for a very specific G protein coupled receptor called GPR. So we know the molecular target is an agonist, and the mechanism of action is probably multifold on multiple tissues. So we've studied and know that target is expressed in the liver, in muscle, in adipose, actually in the pancreas also. And in all those tissues, the actions of this compound are basically anti-obesity and anti-diabetic. So both of those conditions are, multi-organ conditions, right? It's a whole body metabolic dysfunction. And so this reverses essentially all aspects. And that's all shown in the paper we published in January of this year.
Hi, this is Zach Jonasson from PVP. Just a really interesting, I did do a little bit of research before the call. I guess the question I would have for you is, it's great that you can leverage the data from the other application. That's an acute application. So I'd be really curious, what did their preclinical work look like in terms of chronic toxicity? And then secondly, do you see a dose response in the animal models?
Yes, we do. We've gone, what we published was with a higher effective dose. We went to lower doses that were less effective and then not terribly effective. So yes, it's dose dependent. In terms of the toxicology that's needed for an IND, the standard time frame, regardless really of the disease indication down the road, is a 28-day rodent and dog study. So that's what they performed. There were no, at the extreme highest dose, which was literally sort of thousandfold what you might prescribe or take. There were some myeloid toxicity, which is a known side effect of estrogen, which is what this receptor is also responsive to. So their safety window is really quite large considering the doses they're giving. They have dose escalated in the phase 1 trial already in the cancer indication 3 times and not seen any toxicities in the individuals. Now, I agree, though, the indication for obesity and diabetes is more of a chronic indication, but I don't think that will really come out in the pre-IND work because we won't be doing rodent or dog studies for a year or 2, right? That's just not done.
All right. That's all the time we have. Cut it off, getting into another question, but fantastic questions actually. Software guy here was really enjoying your all's back and forth. Fantastic presentation by GPER G1 Development Group. And now we go to Hypnotics.
We are Hypnotics. Welcome to our pitch presentation. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to make this balloon pitch to you today. My name is Jeffrey Lewis, co-founder and CEO of the startup company Hypnotics. In our view, Hypnotics is one of the fastest growing startup companies in the hemp, cannabis, and CBD space. We are truly amazed at what we've accomplished in such a short period of time. Hypnotics was founded in mid-2019 by me, Jeffrey Lewis, and Jose Garcia, as a minority-owned and operated company located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I have over 30 years of top-level entrepreneurial business management experience, and as co-founder and CEO, I led the charge in raising over $100,000 in our friends and family and angel round. My partner and co-founder, Jose Garcia, is responsible for the day-to-day business operations of the company. Jose also comes from a fifth-generation farm family in New Mexico, and he holds a bachelor's degree in biology. Hypnotics currently produces as their minimal viable product, our MVP, high-quality CBD-infused products, such as CBD-infused hand sanitizers and topical pain creams. We have CBD bath bombs and tincture oils. We have also developed CBD energy lollipops and hard candies, and a very successful animals treats line for dogs, cats, and horses. But that's just the start. Our primary business focus is on hemp, cannabis, and CBD oil extraction. We manufacture full spectrum isolate and distillate refined oils for resale. And the last phase of our business plan calls for us building a state-of-the-art greenhouse. Now, this will give Hypnotics the capability to grow many different strains of hemp year-round, as well as giving us the ability to clone these strains and selling them back to the farmer for replanting. Now we become a full-service seed-to-sale company that differentiates us from our competition. The cannabis, hemp, and CBD market is one of the fastest-growing markets in the world today. The market for hemp-derived products is exploding, and the revenue that will be created within these markets is projected to grow immensely every year. Now, our target market for e-commerce sales is focused on the baby boomer market. The number of Americans ages 65 and older is projected to nearly double from 52 million this year, 2020, to 95 million by 2060. Research shows that baby boomers had reported that they've had at least one type of chronic condition that they worried about. We also noticed that baby boomers have discretionary income to spend for these types of homeopathic remedies like CBD and THC. But please note and understand, we are not advocating that hemp, cannabis, or CBD is the cure for all those types of conditions. The success we've achieved in our first year of business has been amazing. The founders have invested over $65,000 to start the company. We have raised an additional $100,000 in our friends and family and angel round. We are generating small amounts of revenue through our product sales. And we were just awarded a contract to produce over 500 bags of CBD horse treats. The way we differ from our competitors is that we are a full-service from seed to sale organization that our company will eventually control the entire production chain. We also have a stellar management team, and we have just signed an MOU partnership with a consortium company that has over 200 farmers in their network in South Carolina. Hypnotics is seeking to secure some strategic partnerships with individuals and organizations that can help us further our mission. It would also be our honor and pleasure to send you some CBD samples to try out. They are amazing and they work. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any interest in learning more about Hypnotics. Thank you so much. Stay well and stay safe. Thank you from Hypnotics. We hope you enjoyed our pitch presentation.
Hi.
Go for it. 3 minutes.
Hey there.
Yeah, so this is Tom Nickloff. I do have a question for you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. So you you note that your competitive advantage is the seed to sale differentiator. Can you talk me through how that's necessarily an advantage? Or have you run the numbers? Is it best to have distribution and marketing and all those other components? I mean, walk me through why that's necessarily an advantage.
That's an excellent question. Really, what's an advantage is essentially you buy the mother essential plant and you clone these derivative hemp plants, and it essentially lowers the cost year after year. You can get into numbers on why this is a competitive advantage and why it's a more reasonable way to go through, and we'd love to talk to you more about that if you wanted to follow up with it for sure.
Well, I just talk me through it just briefly a little bit more than that. I mean, because there's thousands of products out there, right? And so just tell me how that really gives you the advantage over all these other products.
Very good question. Our product sales is primarily as our MVP. It's the way is to start the business to show that we're using the CBD and moving it that way. Our main big focus is going to be on the extraction side of the business. And we're going to be extracting the CBD oil into isolate and distillate. And that's going to be the big push. And I think we noted that that's going to probably end up being about 40% of our revenue coming through, where the product sales is only about 10% of our revenue we're projecting. And then we're going to have about another 30 or 40% of revenue coming from the greenhouse once we get to that phase part of the business plan. But the extraction is going to be the big key to start.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Guys,
Dave
in
Blevins, just
Googling
following up on
Hempnotics, I first came across Pure Hempnotics, a competitor with the same name. So I wonder if you could explain that. And then the second is, it looks like on your website, you've got a couple of celebrity endorsements. Are you paying those celebrities for those endorsements?
First of all, to answer the question on celebrity endorsements, no, we're not. And but that's part of our product that that is a public domain endorsement for CBD. And we just want to, and noted that on our website as well. It should have noted that this was just a public endorsement for CBD products in general. And then the other thing is we've already gotten a patent attorney to file our Hypnotics name, and it's in pending form right now. All the paperwork has been filed and ready to go for Hypnotics as far as our company name, so we can differentiate hopefully from any other person using that name.
Very difficult to ask a 5-second question and get an answer, so we're going to cut it off there. Thank you, Hypnotics. Wonderful pitch and a couple of great questions. Thank you, judges. All right, everybody, do a little exercise with me. If you're not standing like I am, just stand up, because we have a very special guest I'd like you to hear from, but we also are in the halfway point. Circulate the blood a little bit. And as a compliment to what we heard from Gavin Christensen, as an out-of-state investor investing in New Mexico, I'm very honored to have with us live the Cabinet Secretary of Economic Development for the state of New Mexico, Alicia Keys, on the call, listening to these pitches and getting to know some of these companies. And Alicia, I want to give you the floor to talk a little bit about what's happening more broadly in the state of New Mexico in economic development, what you're most excited about. So, Director Keys, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yay, okay. And continue to stretch, take your dogs out, do what you need to do. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks to Albuquerque ID and also to Harold Lavender for having me. I pretty much do anything Harold asked me to do. So, but this has been great to just kind of tune in for the last few minutes. It's probably the most efficient Zoom meeting I've been on in 7 months. This is going like rapid fire. And when Harold called, he asked me to give a short pitch on New Mexico. So that's what I'll do. And of course, that's probably the easiest thing for me to do. Before I start, I also just wanted to shout out to our judges. I'm seeing a lot of you that are friends and colleagues. And it's really this type of involvement in our community that makes New Mexico so fantastic. A lot of you live here, so I'm going to be telling you things that you already know, but some of you don't. Albuquerque, New Mexico, the state is kind of a quirky, gorgeous place with a lot of brain power. And that fits our mission in the Economic Development Department, which is to bring growing companies here that generate wealth and improve the lives of New Mexicans. I like to say to people when they talk to me about New Mexico and want to know, I say you either get the joke or you don't. Many of us live here because it's the lifestyle that we enjoy. It's the outdoors, it's the people, it's the fact that we all have time for each other here to participate and to collaborate as a community. One of our new divisions in this department, and a great initiative, I think, for New Mexico, is the Outdoor Recreation Division. So this division is dedicated to growing the outdoor economy, and we just awarded 25 grants to organizations around the state that will work with 2,600 kids and young adults on outdoor experience and education. And this is part of our equity grant program. And it's just kind of one of the ways that I feel like epitomizes New Mexico. We also have a super welcoming business climate. A lot of you know that Facebook came here to build one data center and is now constructing 6. And they're taking advantage of an opportunity zone. We have one of the best workforce training programs in the country, which is JTIP. We also have a job closing fund, which you see in the paper a lot, and I'm going to talk about a few of the deals that we've done recently, and that's called LEDA. And it's really where the state can help share the costs for businesses that are looking to relocate here or to expand or to add jobs. And so before I had this position, I had no idea it existed. So I always like to tell people that it's out there and to come and talk to us. New Mexico, there's no other state that has 2 Department of Energy labs or receives more federal research dollars, and the Air Force Research Lab, White Sands Missile Range, and even, you know, things like the National Brackish Water Research Institute in Alamogordo. I always find when I'm traveling around that there's amazing things going on all over the state. We're also home to 3 nationally known research universities. So because of these assets, we have a really highly skilled workforce that is really thick with PhDs and scientists and engineers. I have never really heard any of the companies that we move here complain about our workforce or say that they can't get anyone. So that's always really nice. We also benefit from the technologies developed in our labs and our universities and the opportunities created from commercializing that research. We have companies like Descartes Labs, IBQ, Ubiquity, Pebble Labs, Spin Launch, Ganymede. Spin Launch is in the space sector. I was just down there the other day visiting them. I'll talk about them in a second. And Ganymede Games is a video gaming company that we brought to Las Cruces. Last month, we announced new investments in a company called LaSen, which specializes in aerial inspection of oil and gas lines, as well as utility infrastructure and corridors. And then we announced a company called Sky, which already has a facility in Roswell, a hangar in Roswell, and then one in Moriarty. And they're looking to build a 3rd hangar, which is going to be just outside of Albuquerque. But this is a company that is launching airships into the stratosphere and will not only provide broadband for 100% of New Mexicans, but will also do methane monitoring for the state. So super excited to have them here. The CEO was in San Francisco. New Mexico is the place that he wants to be. We're seeing a huge influx of companies and people wanting to be out of the big cities now, out of the New York, San Francisco's, LA's of the world, and come to New Mexico. So that has really been probably the silver lining to what has been an awful pandemic. We have an opportunity here in New Mexico, and people definitely are starting to hear about us and wanting to be here. So the state invests in these companies because the research that they're doing is really disruptive and innovative, and it's going to be beneficial to all of us. And that's really a lot of the companies that we are seeing being successful here. They are disruptors. They are people that like to do things differently. They are people who don't necessarily need to be in the big cities, but then can be pioneers out here. One industry that we hear a lot about, and the industry that I came from, is film. We currently have 2 film partners. We created a program last year, which was under our SB2 legislation. So it is for companies, distribution companies, production companies that want to commit to being here in a sustainable way, and at least for 10 years by either purchasing a studio or leasing it. So we have 2 partners now, Netflix, and also NBC Universal, looking to actually close a 3rd one. We've just started ramping up production again in a COVID safe way. So I think we're going to see a lot of interesting expansions, interesting companies, kind of a supply chain type of thing happening with that industry in New Mexico. And then I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the spaceport. In the fall, Virgin Galactic is expected to make another test flight from Spaceport America. So we're all very excited, getting ready for that. As some of you know, New Mexico has a long history in space and in engineering. And so these jobs are fast growing here. They are going into our universities, and they are having formal internships with our students coming out. So companies like HAPS Mobile and Spin Launch, as I mentioned earlier, are now down at the spaceport. Spin Launch is a fascinating company. They are going to be launching rockets from a catapult into lower Earth orbit. And I was able to look at the catapult the other day, and it's the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life. And so we're really excited to see them succeed here. One thing that we don't talk a lot about, but something that I feel like is an asset, is our border. We do have the international border with Mexico. And lately it's been attracting a lot of foreign direct investment, including 2 Taiwanese companies. We went over last October before COVID to Taiwan and Japan to talk to companies that are potentially thinking about moving their manufacturing or supply chain here into New Mexico, but also into Mexico and the Santa Teresa, San Geronimo, which is fantastic, because when you go down there, our borders are so porous with them, and we're walking back and forth and working with each other every single day. And so just this past month, we announced Accentria, which is a Taiwanese company that moved into that borderplex area. They're going to be joining Admiral Cable, and I think we're going to see a lot of really kind of true cross-border business development happen. Which I think is super exciting for New Mexico. And finally, we just have a governor who has a real clear vision about where she wants economic development to go. It is a priority for her. She understands that we need to diversify our economy and create high-paying jobs for New Mexicans, so we don't have to have 2 to 3 jobs. And she also just understands that this world is changing, and we passed the Energy Transition Act last year, and we've promised to be 100% clean by 2045, and I really think that we're going to get there, and I think it's going to create a lot of opportunity and a lot of jobs for New Mexicans. So I'm super excited that you guys are all here and pitching these ideas. I wish I could stay longer and listen to everything, because this is really one of my passions, is working with local business people to bring their ideas to fruition. So thank you for inviting me. Please reach out. We are so available. We are all on our cell phones right now. We're working from home, but we're really trying to, if somebody calls, one of us calls you back. And so even if you just want to talk about opportunities or areas or certain things about your business plan, I'm more than happy to hop on the phone with you. And once again, I see like a lot of wonderful people on this line who are giving their time to judge. See McLean right now. I owe you a phone call. See Juanita. It's just like, this is really what makes New Mexico great, is these types of opportunities. So thank you, Harold. I'm going to stick on for a little bit longer so I can hear more pitches, if that's okay. And if anyone has any questions, I don't know if this is the venue, but if it's not, then please give us a call. Thanks.
Yeah. So you mentioned the efficiency. Thank you so much, Director Keys, for saying a few words. I hope you judges out of state, maybe a portfolio company, a portco, something you're working on, think of New Mexico. We're eager, ready, willing, and able to make great things happen. And you've just been introduced to one of the people that can do that. So again, thank you for giving of your time. Hopefully everybody's stretched. You stretched? Good. We got 5 more to go. This one, speaking of energy, Secretary, is OSASDA Energy. So kicking our second half off, let's get to OSASDA.
Hi, I'm April Jeffries, Director of Business Development for OSASDA Energy.
Let me explain why, during a pandemic, I left my secure job as a researcher at a university to join OSASDA Energy. Over the past 8 years, I worked as a postdoctoral researcher and earned a PhD in material science and engineering. During those years, I studied and tested solar panel durability, solar cell metallization, and commercialization of novel metallization materials. Okay, before we go any further, I know I need to stop and define my favorite word because I use it a lot, metallization. This is a solar cell, the power generating component of a solar panel. The blue part absorbs sunlight and generates electricity. The white lines here are the metallization. They're typically made of silver and extract electricity out of the cell for us to use to power whatever we want. Solar cells are packaged into solar panels, which is probably what you're used to seeing out in fields or on roofs like the one pictured here on the top left. One incredibly impressive thing about solar panels is that they are put outside, unprotected, and operate for decades. I'm talking 30 to 50 years or longer than I've been alive. Solar panels are routinely warrantied by the manufacturer to perform near their maximum power rating for 30 plus years. That means the solar panels must not be damaged or degrade, or else this costs the manufacturer money. Throughout a solar panel's lifetime, they are exposed to many stresses from shipping, installation, to heavy winds, hail, and snow. And these stresses result in tiny cracks in the solar cells, which worsen throughout decades of stresses. And these tiny cracks are a big problem. Cracks reduce the power output from the solar panels. This results in reduced profitability, not just for solar panel manufacturers, but also for solar farm owners. OSASDA Energy provides materials engineering solutions to improve solar panel durability. Our patented carbon nanotube enhanced metallizations have been proven to electrically bridge stress-induced cracks that appear in solar cells over time, offering higher profits for solar farm owners and solar panel manufacturers. Solar cell manufacturers who use OSASDA's metallizations will distinguish their products from others on the market by increasing their profitable lifetime. More importantly, compared to standard metallizations already on the market, OSASDA's paste has nearly zero added costs as determined by a techno-economic analysis conducted by Dr. Woodhouse at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. We hold 2 patents for this technology, giving us a solid advantage over our competition. And by reducing crack-related degradation, we extend the operational lifetime of solar panels, increasing revenue and net present value. For a 100 megawatt solar farm, that translates to a $2.5 million increase in net present value. For scale, even through the slowdown due to the pandemic, there will be 120,000 megawatts of solar manufactured in 2020 alone. And this industry continues to grow, doubling every 29 months. I joined this team over the summer because I know this technology is a simple, cost-effective solution to a real-world problem. My expertise in solar panel durability, metallization, and commercialization of novel materials adds to our incredible team of scientists, engineers, and executives. Our team has already raised $3.2 million in funding to develop and test our technology. Now we are looking to take our company to the next level for product development and commercialization.
Thank you, OSASDA. I think we cut you off there, but we want to give time for Q&A. So 3 minutes starts now, judges.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about the competitive landscape and how exactly you compare?
Sure. So right now, we have one direct competitor that we know of, Meyer Burger. They have a solution where you implement these multiple wires to extract the current around the cracks. However, this requires a different manufacturing step than is already in place in solar cell manufacturing. And additionally, it uses different materials than are already in solar modules, and that introduces more risks for durability and reliability. So yeah, so we have a simple drop-in replacement that can just be implemented already in the customer's manufacturing line without any changes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, which market segment, because on your website, you're looking at very different market segments.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you really targeting? And are you targeting repairing of cracked cells? Mm-hmm. Or are you looking at manufacturing new ones and getting into that supply chain?
Okay, so we are focusing right now on the terrestrial PV, so like solar farms that you would see out in fields or on roofs. And this is a product that is put on the solar cell during the manufacturing of the solar cell. It's simply replacing the silver paste that's already used on solar cells with our paste.
So is your plan to license your process to the manufacturers or to sell your paste directly to the manufacturers?
That's a good question, and I might not be the best person to ask about that. I think we are looking at the possibility of both of those, but right now we are moving forward with manufacturing the paste ourselves for our first few customers, and then potentially as it gets larger, licensing the technology. Sang, do you have anything you want to add to that, or did I cover it?
I believe you're on target.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Now, when you say that there's no additional costs, is it just because the cost of the paste is essentially the same cost as the silver paste that's already on there?
Right. So the main components of the paste are the same. We add functionalized carbon nanotubes, but only a very small amount. So it does result in an increased cost, but it's so small. It's basically the same thing.
Okay, so it doesn't register on a per kilowatt hour price.
Right. Has your funding been non-dilutive, or has it been traditional angel investors to date? Can you speak to that just quick?
Most of it has been funding from the government, non-dilutive, but some from angel investors. Mm-hmm.
Great way to follow up there after the competition. Thank you, Osazda. Very good pitch and great questions. Good repartee on Q&A. I want to make a special appeal before we get to our next, and that is we are going to go a little bit over, but this is so exciting and the last 4 pitches are so great. I want you all to stay locked in, stretch if you need to, walk around during the pitch, but stay locked in because we want you to contribute to that crowd favorite as well before we announce the winner. So thanks everybody for hanging in there. Sorry, we're going to go a little bit late, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great. With no further ado, let's get to our next pitch, Parting Stone.
I'm Justin Crow, founder of Parting Stone. Thanks so much for hearing our pitch today. A few years ago, my grandfather died, and he was somebody who I was really close to. He was an entrepreneur. He was a pastor. And this is the first time I really got a look into the death care industry. And as I started to do that, I found something really interesting. And that's that there were millions of people living with cremated remains in their closets, in their basements, in their garages. And this seemed really strange to me. And what I realized was that people choosing cremation really wanted to feel close with the remains of their departed, but they couldn't, because remains come in this really unfortunate form. They're messy, they're not nice to look at, and people were scared of stowing them in their carpet. They didn't want to scatter because they were blowing back in the wind. And this tense relationship was really inhibiting people's grieving and just seemed like a tragic experience. And we believe that everyone should feel close to the remains of their departed. We set out to develop a new form of human remains, an alternative to conventional ash. And we got a grant to work with Los Alamos National Laboratory, who helped us develop the first ever alternative to ashes. And that looks like this. And so solidified remains are the full amount of remains returned in a solid and clean form. Our process basically compresses that granular form of ash into these solids that act and feel very much like ceramic or like normal rocks. And they provide a way for people to feel close with those remains, be able to share them with people around them, and so they don't end up in closets anymore. And as we developed this, we started to look into the history of cremation and realized that up until 1970, for people who chose cremation, we were just returning bags of bones. And as the cremation rate rose, we realized that bags of bones weren't actually a very nice way to live with the remains of people who you love. And so the industry, the death industry, developed what's called the cremulator. And we started blending the bones into what we know today as ash. And this is when the cremation rate was 5%. Today, the cremation rate is 55%. There are 20 million people living with bags of ash, and we're now realizing that bags of ash are not actually a nice way to live with those remains either. And so what's really important about this business is that we compete with cremated remains. When a family walks into a funeral home, the funeral director says, we have two options for receiving remains, cremated remains or solidified remains. Which would you like? Our business model is very simple. We wholesale our solidification service to funeral homes for $395. They offer it to their families. We also sell direct to consumer for $595 on our website. We opened our doors in October 2019 after raising a $500,000 round of funding. We have seen rapid growth within the industry. We've onboarded over 200 funeral homes. We've done over 400 solidifications and over 200,000 in sales. We won a KIP award from Innovation from the International Cemetery Cremation and Funeral Association. And we won a World Changing Ideas Award from Fast Company magazine, which really just helped us educate people that when you choose cremation, you don't have to receive cremated remains. We're functioning in a huge market. There's 1.5 million people cremated annually in the United States. Currently, solidified remains is offered to 40,000 of them, and we're converting about 2.8% conversion rate. We have a clear path to be offered to 750,000 families annually in the United States at a 6% conversion rate by 2024. We have major competitive advantages. We have a patent pending, both utility and design patent. We are currently the only company in the world offering an alternative to conventional ash, and we have partnered with the most influential death industry blog that exists in the United States, and we are in the final stages of negotiating a 1,200 funeral home rollout with a major U.S. company. I'm Justin Crow. I have experience in the death care industry as a journalist. I have a background in marketing and entrepreneurship. Amy Slater, our director of operations, has an MBA, has experience in finance and technology management. Kelsey, our production manager, has ceramic manufacturing experience, raw material R&D, and team management. We have a great board of advisors within the industry and outside of the industry, all helping us grow this new category. We've proven a new category in a big market. We are now growing, optimizing our technology, pushing marketing and sales, and developing a value add product line. We are looking for friends, allies, people to join us on this mission. We would love to talk to every one of you. Thank you so much for listening to this pitch today, and we look forward to talking to you all soon.
All right, Parting Stone. Q&A begins now, judges.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. What is your cost of actually providing that service, and what's your gross margin on it?
So the wholesale cost of funeral homes is $395. Our cost to produce them is currently, our margin is $160 at the moment, and we see a path to significantly improving that over time. We started very much with an MVP a year ago where we were losing money, just like, will people choose this option? And we've been slowly refining over time.
Great, thank you.
I was just curious about the 20 million number that you had about people who are living with ashes. Are you basing this on the number of people who are cremated? And because I understand in some religions, they actually believe in scattering it. So how did you derive the actual number of people who are living with ashes and to determine your market size?
Sure. So there's data on the number of pet cremations a year and the number of human cremations a year.
I believe we added up 25 years of total cremations and then multiplied that by 1/3. 1/3 of people scatter, 1/3 of people bury, 1/3 of people keep. And so that's how we came up with that number. That's all I could validate. I actually believe that number is far higher, but that's what we could validate in math.
Yeah, have you done any market research and market validation to know that there will be demand for this kind of service from the ultimate consumer, not just the funeral home?
Yeah, well, I mean, when the funeral homes that we bring on give the families an option of either cremated remains or solidified remains, we're currently converting just about 3% of every family will choose solidified remains over cremated remains. So we know we can at least do that. In markets that are educated about this option beforehand, they're consistently selling to 6%, which we're really excited about. And there's 20,000 funeral homes in the United States, and we're currently in 200 of them.
I was going to ask, what factors are driving this uptick in adoption in cremations in general?
That's a big conversation. It has to do with dispersed families. It has to do with cost. And during COVID, actually, the cremation rate has risen in almost every state.
Do you mind clarifying what scale you guys are at right now in terms of revenue and what you're expecting for this year and next?
We're doing about 80 orders a month right now, which is about 35 to 40,000 in revenue. And over the next 5 years, we're looking at doing about 6,000 solidifications per month if we can continue to grow at the rate that we see a path to.
All right. Hey, snaps and claps for Parting Stone. Thank you very much, Justin.
Thank you.
We are going to go straight into it. We're steady clip here, folks. Company number 7. Let's see. I have quotient, but shall we go with, can we get quotients up there and then rerouted? Let's see. I think quotient's supposed to be next. Bum, bum, bum. Little music here. You all are doing great, judges. You're fantastic. Thank you. Just want to shout out. All the pitches have been fantastic too. Don't forget, crowd favorite. Start thinking about the ones you've heard and get ready to vote for a crowd favorite. All right, Quotient, here we go.
Hi, I'm Danielle Duran, co-founder and head of data science at Quotient. I'm excited to show you my pitch today. At Quotient, we're tackling the existential crisis presented to humanity by climate change through developing impact intelligence. Nearly 50 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emissions are dumped into the atmosphere each year around the world. 73% of all emissions come from the energy sector, including electricity generation. We focus on emissions from oil and natural gas production because the bulk of natural gas is methane, or CH4. It's imperative to focus on methane emissions because this gas warms the atmosphere 86 times more than CO2 over a 20-year period. Focusing on methane allows us to drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions, thereby meeting the need to cut emissions by at least 50% and also increase efficiency on natural gas production, which allows us to leverage this as a bridge fuel. Carbon emissions are expensive and represent financial liabilities in energy production. The environmental impacts of energy production vary widely. Companies with cleaner production and therefore fewer emissions have an opportunity to prosper in the future, whereas dirty producers will be saddled with a carbon debt that outweighs their assets. The cost per ton of CO2e emissions will likely increase by 600% by 2050. Big players in the energy sector are already stepping in and committing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. BP aims to be net zero by 2050, as well as many utilities and major corporations. Companies which commit to decarbonization decrease their financial liability due to greenhouse gas emissions over time. For example, under this scenario, if BP is successful, they reduce their annual carbon liability by $495 million, or 100% over 30 years. If ExxonMobil does nothing, their liability increases 600% to $8.8 billion. Our platform provides key data products, enabling producers and consumers to move nimbly in the energy transition space. Methane emissions are tracked and reduced, resulting in cleaner gas burn during power generation. We also provide continuous feedback rather than only point-in-time ES&G reporting. We read in continuous data streams provided directly from producers and marry those with attribute data using state-of-the-art statistical methods, resulting in differentiated commodities. A new digital data product is created, which the market is then able to reward based on ES&G performance. Impact intelligence refers to new digital products created from production data streams, including differentiated commodities, ES&G financial instruments, and others, proving performance around decarbonization. Our platform as a service is one of our main revenue models. This pilot project, Wellhead to Wall Socket, represents replacing the entire supply for a publicly traded utility with low-impact natural gas supplied by a top international oil and gas producer. The utility has agreed to purchase 44,000 MMBtu daily in perpetuity. This is a huge advance in differentiated commodities. Deals like this will only become more common, and the market is massive. Big Four accounting firms just issued a report estimating the total assets under management in commodities and ES&G to now be worth $32 trillion. We execute on this vision with our core team. We're veterans in the energy transition space. We have a short-term vision of making production impacts visible and a mid and long-term goal of creating solutions to humanity's most pressing social and environmental problems. Jason, our CEO and co-founder, invented the differentiated commodities market. I bring novel analytics techniques to ES&G. Travis molds our vision for inclusive data models. And Libby guides us in all things ES&G FinTech. Our special sauce includes our key partnerships, accurate data products, and our expertise. We're partnering with the foremost environmental groups defining ES&G standards and more. Our state-of-the-art data science techniques result in the most accurate data products. For example, emissions reporting at plus or minus 2% rather than 500%. Our team enables us to achieve success. We bring a blend of data science, engineering, computer science, physics, and oil and gas domain knowledge to execute quickly on our vision. A VC for one of the top 10 energy producers called us one of two players in the hottest space in the energy transition. Our competition lacks many of our advantages and is focused on solely becoming an exchange. We're asking for partners to help make the commodity valuation revolution a success. We need evangelists, introductions, and connections to stakeholders in the ES&G and energy space. Thank you.
We are Quotient, and we believe in
impact science
and New Mexico.
We are Teservo. As we're likely all...
Oh, wait, not yet. Hey, great. The Q&A session for Quotient begins now.
Can you tell us a little bit about your pricing model and also the initial market that you're selling into?
Yes, so our initial pricing model is based on platform as a service. So we have a subscription model for all of our data products, which are provided to our producers, buyers, investors, anyone who's interested in purchasing products created from data. We are also creating a registry. So we provide registry as a service, which is also a subscription service. We also plan on utilizing transactional revenue later on.
But who are you selling to specifically?
So one of our pilots, for example, is selling differentiated natural gas to utility producers. Really, we're in the space of disrupting the commodity markets altogether. So our customers include producers of natural gas and oil, electricity generating companies, utilities, investors, people who need information around differentiated products. Right now, there is no way to differentiate this MMBtu of gas versus this other MMBtu of gas. They're all sold the same price. Our technology allows for that differentiation, and that's massive.
But you're selling the gas itself, or you're selling information about the gas?
It's information about the gas. We create information products through a digital representation of the physical commodity.
So the value of your platform is the amount of data that gets on it, right? So right now, do you have sufficient data that you can pull into it?
Absolutely. Yes, we have 4 pilot projects
with major oil and gas producers around the world. We are also we are entering a pilot project with a gold and silver producer in Canada. And we have a $2 million verbal commitment from an oil and gas producer. They're an international producer as a prepayment for platform services.
It sounded like you're kind of assembling best of breed products in order to, get the information, if I understood correctly. I'm sure you must have some IP around assembling those and how they work together. Can you speak to that for a second?
Correct. That's part of our secret sauce. We have proprietary methods based on abstracted models from continuum mechanics and physics, which allow us to more accurately quantify methane emissions, methane leaks, and to marry the attribute data, which producers already have, to their raw production data, and bundle that into a data product, which then can be used by producers to more accurately report their emissions. It can also be used as a financial instrument.
All right, I'm cutting it off now because no time for any questions that merit a response, but this gets the conversation started. Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Quotient. Excellent pitch and Q&A session. Second to last, let's load up Rerouted.
My name's Shaka. I'm the owner and CEO of Rerouted, and we're a used outdoor gear business. Buying and selling gear online is hard. We built Rerouted because the used gear industry had a major problem. Our solution is a dual re-commerce marketplace that uses technology to streamline the gear exchange. Rerouted made it easier than ever for any individual or business to buy, sell, or donate used outdoor gear when they want. We will unify the $15 billion secondhand outdoor gear industry. More than half of Americans recreate outside, and the resale market is expected to double in the next 5 years. Outdoor and resale industry reports indicate that at least 20 million Americans are ready to purchase used gear online. Right now, consumers, especially young ones, are inclined to choose socially responsible businesses over their unsustainable counterparts. Rerouted built a disruptive re-commerce platform by designing comprehensive custom profiles and automating the upload process, allowing us to match people and gear instantly. The demand for used gear is unfulfilled by chaotic marketplaces and mom-and-pop gear shops. E-commerce platforms are not currently designed to upload and catalog one-of-a-kind, disparate pieces of gear without losing important data. This loss of product specifications creates an inconsistent and unreliable shopping experience. There are no efficient, unified platforms for used gear. It requires time, energy, and expertise to buy and sell gear online. Our strategic partners are forced to store or reject inventory because they are limited to selling locally. Rerouted commits to curating safe, high-quality gear by using technology to reduce friction. Our platform is designed to be clean and consistent, defending our users from disreputable product listings. If buying and selling used gear was as easy as shopping on Amazon, the choice would be simple. Rerouted built a reliable way to trade gear that is accessible, affordable, and sustainable. As proof, in the last year, we captured 500 plus customer accounts in 150 cities, established 20 partnerships, and participated in 15 events. We are rerouting the global used gear market and tapping into its passionate and engaged community. Individuals will reap the benefits of being both buyers and sellers in our cyclical marketplace. We are expanding our Shopify platform to add secure, intuitive features, helping users get their gear flowing faster. Rerouted eliminates the hassle of coordinating with strangers. All users need to do is create custom profiles, purchase curated gear, and go play. Rerouted's platform makes selling gear on any smartphone as easy as 1, 2, 3. Rerouted takes all the hard work out of our partners' hands. We place sellers' products in front of purchase-ready customers, manage all e-commerce logistics, and offer proprietary customer insights. We are working tirelessly to scale Rerouted. To increase operational efficiency, we are seeking resources to empower our amazing team and make key hires. Our team is developing our platform to keep up with user demands. We continue improving functionality and reducing pain points by working with our pilot partners. Rerouted is releasing its full upload process this month and plans to have instant mobile transactions available by early 2021. Our 20 established partners are ready to sell gear online through Rerouted's re-commerce engine. We plan to increase sales and brand awareness by marketing our latest inventory with targeted digital media campaigns. 3 key takeaways. First, the outdoor and resale industries combine to be an expansive, total available market. Next, buying and selling gear online is needlessly challenging because the alternatives are inefficient and outdated. And the time is ripe for Rerouted to disrupt the used outdoor gear industry. Our team knows how to execute the vision with precision. We care deeply for the environment and are primed to use our expertise to get gear out of storage and onto our platform. We are supported by advisors that are deeply connected in the business world and the outdoor industry. Rerouted is building trust and momentum. This is only the beginning. Rerouted is a win-win-win for our core wilderness community. We have built a brand that is essential for the market and our environment. The used gear industry must be rerouted. Thank you. We really appreciate all you guys' support. Please let us know if there's any way we can help you guys trade used gear easier. We're Rerouted and we're making used gear on demand.
Hi.
All right. Q&A begins now for Rerouted.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about how you build trust? Because you'd only talked about custom profiles. And also, are there any liability issues since the gear is for outdoor activities?
Yeah, great question. So I'll touch on the liability first. All the research that we did in it originally with used outdoor gear was risk that's involved in that. We don't do ropes. Don't.
Try again. You cut out a little bit there. Go ahead and unmute and try again. One more time. There you go. There you go.
Is it working? Can you guys hear me? Sorry. In terms of liability, we don't sell helmets, ropes, harnesses, anything that has a life threat to it. We really work on gear that isn't needed for life saving. And then the other thing about building trust, we found that customers really are excited about the opportunity to build these customer profiles because it allows you to do that searching and filtering for the gear that fits you and the gear that's functional for you without having to do all the searching. I also have my CTO, Jonathan, here as well, so he can help answer some of the questions regarding tech that you guys might have. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it's good.
What about revenue traction so far?
Yeah, we did $10,000 in sales over our last year. We launched in April of 2019. We've done a little over 250 transactions between buying and selling gear.
How many others are selling selling outdoor gear online secondhand like you guys?
In terms of specific used outdoor gear industries, there's only geartrade.com, and they're still doing very focused on person to person, where they're taking a 13% transaction off of each fee or transaction, and we're taking a lot less than that.
You said that what is the average size? I'm just curious. I want to follow up on your total revenue last year was 10,000. I didn't get the total number of transactions you've done. So what is the average transaction size?
Every sale that we make, we're averaging about $50 per sale, and that's total revenue. And originally we had started pre-COVID doing it out of a warehouse. We were warehousing all the gear. More and more, we're growing into a tech business and a software as a service business where we're focused on those mom and pop local gear shops to help bring their inventory online, because right now there's just not a reliable platform that allows you to sell used goods easily and efficiently over the internet.
So what is the upside potential for you in terms of total sales?
We believe that we can absolutely capitalize on the $15 billion outdoor gear industry market. And I'd love to follow up more on that answer.
Big jump.
I know we had more questions there, but we are at the 3 minutes. Thank you, Chap. And thank you, Rerouted. We're going to move it right along to our last but not least let us hear from ToServo.
We are ToServo. As we're likely all acutely aware, cities across the country are looking for ways to lessen the load on local law enforcement, mainly right now to provide a little breathing room into current complex and sometimes tense discussions around police reform, but also in the ongoing effort to improve overall response times, hopefully. In this search, Albuquerque, for instance, recently implemented a community safety department of social workers to handle police calls related to homelessness or addiction. As another approach, other cities are working to prevent the tens of thousands of hours wasted responding to false alarms with a method sometimes referred to as verified response, where an eyewitness has to confirm an actual break-in before the police are called, typically by private security. While some communities are pushing back against the mandating of this practice, those who've tried it have given us a chance to see how valuable a technique it can be towards saving police resources when upwards of 90% of alarm calls do not involve an actual break-in. After implementing, cities like Milwaukee and Salt Lake City saw police alarm responses drop to less than 1% of what they were, while showing no increase in burglary rates. Now, we're not advocating mandating this particular practice, but it does show the effectiveness of using private security as eyes and ears on the ground for more routine calls before using police resources, be it as a policy or a service available as desired for individuals to purchase. In a city the size of Albuquerque, there are over a dozen licensed small independent private security firms, each usually with a patrolling guard or two at any given time, and more off-duty but on call. Nationwide, there are approximately 10,000 small independent firms like this that serve 75% of the national market. So, what if, when an alarm goes off in the middle of the night, in a few taps on your phone, it was possible to find the closest licensed high-quality private security who could check on that alarm? Well, with ToServo, you can. You can do that right now here in Albuquerque. In fact, our customers have. This is Joe Gable, owner of Serafians, a fine rug store here in town. He has a ToServo subscription, and over the past year, he's hit the big red button 3 times in the middle of the night when an alarm went off. Our system found a guard who responded quickly. Luckily, all 3 times it was false, a false alarm. It's basically AAA roadside assistance, but for private security. It saved Joe from, again, sitting in his car outside his shop for hours in the middle of the night waiting for the police. It saved our city from sending a fully kitted police officer in a squad car to discover the wind shook a door real hard. So we recently finished developing our immediate response platform, getting it to an MVP, and after a period of testing with friends and family, customers, and one provider company, we found it easy enough to sign up new customers in face-to-face meetings that we switched gears for a bit and opened up the platform to from one provider to now to any and all high-quality licensed provider private security companies here in town. 2 more companies just recently agreed to join, and more have expressed interest. This network of providers allows us to provide fast response times compared to any one firm and competitively pay providers and competitively price our subscription fees to customers. Once we have a robust network of providers in town, we'll launch our local promotional plan in anticipation of Albuquerque being our first test market. So far, we have not encountered another private security industry network like us of armed rapid responders, app-based or otherwise. Our primary competitive advantage is being first to market with an extremely high rate of positive experiences. Right now, our core team, who you saw quickly at the beginning, outside of our regulatory, industry, law enforcement, and startup advisors, consists of Kyle Tidmore on the left, co-founder and head of business development with numerous contacts here in Albuquerque after 30 years in construction. Aranala Horlbeck in the center, our lead full-stack developer, who joined us after roughly 10 years building, managing, and maintaining databases designed for immunology. She's becoming more and more difficult to hang on to these days. And myself, Tyler Hotchla, MBA Navy veteran, where I led a ship's defense security force for a couple of years, gaining some experience and familiarity in security. Again, we're to Servo. Thank you for your time. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, Q&A for TuServo begins now.
How many subscribers do you have and what do they pay?
Sure. Right now we have 10 subscribers. They pay anywhere from $25 a month up to $100 a month. We function similar to sort of an insurance model where we get a sense of the customer's usage and how much we would expect them to cost us, and we make sure that their monthly on the longer term covers those costs.
Great, thank you.
What, Tyler, have you given an estimate to the market size for something like this? You know, as someone who managed a retail operation who used to get those middle of the night calls, you know, I can see some value to certainly the right kind of customers. But what do you guess the size of the market is?
Sure. Doing research, you know, from an industry-wide standpoint, we've come to see that Albuquerque and the surrounding major cities, Dallas, Phoenix, Denver, El Paso, all together, it's 1.4 billion, according to a Barnes report from 2018, was spent specifically on security guard services. That doesn't include things like armored trucks, and kind of VIP protection. And then nationwide, it's a $20 billion market nationwide. Albuquerque is 55 million. Denver, for example, 292 million. To give you kind of a sense of what a city spends in a year on security guard services.
Tyler, how do you compensate the call outs? Is it on a per call out basis or a subscription that they're available whenever you need them?
Per call out. Basically, when you know, our customers, on the customer side, it's subscription. When a patrol is handled, is taken care of, we pay out a one-time payout to the provider.
Okay, great.
And what kind of security?
How do you screen the companies that are providing the services?
Sure. We basically screen them one by one that they meet our standards for professionalism and work with kind of the most reputable groups in town. So we're members of the New Mexico Private Security Association, and they have standards that allow you to join that group, and we largely work with those. Actually, right now we work exclusively with groups that are associated with the association.
Tyler, do you have a specific, or have you worked out a model that for a business owner that's a typical monthly subscription to be on your service?
You can answer that offline, Tyler. We're out of time, but
okay.
Great question. Hey, we did it, everybody. Good job TuServo. Good job, Tyler. Good job, judges. Right this moment, the judges are hurriedly finishing their scoring. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to kill a little bit of time. But most importantly, now is the time that you get to have your say as audience member for this shindig. So Dan's been hitting you up in chat all along, educating you to the companies. Maybe some of you have been surfing websites, getting your own intel, because you take it as a noble responsibility to help choose the crowd favorite. You are the crowd. Who is your favorite? So what I'm going to have Dan do now is go ahead and open up our poll. You get one choice. It's a difficult choice because all the pitches today were fantastic. I'm really proud of New Mexico right now. I'm proud of all of our pitches. Snaps and claps, by the way. Snaps and claps for these amazing entrepreneurs, taking time out of what they're already doing to make this happen in the format we pivoted to. So great job. Keep the votes coming in. I think we're going to keep this open for a couple minutes, and afterwards we're going to, I think, Dan, we're going to be able to kind of hold on to the results until we are able to also announce 1, 2, and 3. Is that right? Or are we going to have to do it because of the way Zoom works, like right here and now?
Yeah, so let me take you through it real quick. So I'm going to stop sharing results. So if you guys can stop doing that, that'd be great. So if you're a co-host, you have the same power as we do. So I'm going to ask the judges.
Well, looks like the poll is closed.
Yeah, so I've closed it. So what I'm going to ask is the judges and the co-hosts to focus on finishing up your judging. I'm going to run the poll one more time and ask that any of the co-hosts don't do that, or I'll just put it in God mode and make you all powerless. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll one more time, and let's give it a good solid 2 minutes. And I apologize if it's in one of your windows. So relaunching poll.
Okay, so if you voted, you got to vote again because we had a little snap. All right, great. All right. I was telling the judges beforehand that I could sing. I've been listening to a lot of Hamilton recently, so I could sing that, but I think that would distract from everybody voting and distract our judges. We don't want that. I'm looking here for you, Monica. Let me know how things are going on your end. And you can chat me up here on Slack, whatever you want to do there.
And TJ, I need to pull that document for you to calculate. Do you want to go into a breakout room?
Yes, and then you got to do the song and dance, Dan. Actually, so once you put me in the breakout room with Monica, so we can do the scoring, please have the judges give some overall feedback. What are the patterns of strength, the patterns of areas of improvement from the pitches today, so the whole community could learn from one more time from the judges. So yeah, go ahead and put Monica and I in a breakout so we could do some scoring goodness, and we'll leave it to you to engage the audience while we're doing that.
This is Harold Lavender. I just wanted to say I made a mistake in my excitement of introducing the sponsors. Our prime sponsor is Rook Financial, our prime sponsor is Rook Advisors, not Rook Financial. I just wanted to make that point clear. Rook Advisors is our prime sponsor this year.
All right, I think all the judges have had time to submit their final scoring, so go ahead and whisk us away, Mr. Dan, and we'll be back as soon as we can.
Okay, TJ, I'm going to go ahead and send you and Monica to calculate the votes into a breakout room. So you should be seeing that now. Meanwhile, while they are calculating that, I'd like to open up the floor for any of the participants, or not the participants, but the judges, to share some feedback of the presentations they saw today.
I guess I'll start the ball rolling since no one's talking right now. No, I just want to say it was really, really nice to hear all the different companies, and it was really interesting, broad range of companies from very tech based to companies that are, doing impact work. I think one of the things that I would say that I saw was interesting is that everyone always feels that your company has the most innovative and most wonderful product that everybody will have. But I think some of you communicated it a little better than others in terms of recognizing what your competitive edge is and a very focused customer segment that you want to go after. So this product market fit is sometimes the key area that companies don't spend too much time on, especially if you're a tech team. So just a note there. But it was great and I had fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just a suggestion about some of the questions that came up. I found in Q&A that there are some really kind of head-turning stats that came up. And I would reflect on those questions and think about how you can really make that a very clear, place that you talk to that in your slides. And, overall, if you can have the overall vision and then have very clear numbers that just say, well, this is the proof of why it matters, and the vision for how it's going to be a big, a big idea. That's, those two things just make it very clear. So everyone did an awesome job. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, sorry, this is Zach. I'll just add, I thought the pitches were great. Maybe to piggyback off you a little bit, Melinda, I think the one area may be useful to focus on, I know the format is very constrained. It's a short period of time, but to make sure you cover the basic core metrics for the business model. Who are you selling to? How are you pricing it? What your margins are? I think that's really helpful to get across.
I'll add another one of my 2 cents in talking to investors is that I think, we're trying to understand a lot in a really quick time period. And most people you pitch to, they're kind of like drinking from the fire hose. So oftentimes what also works really well is relate what you're doing to the world as we know it. Maybe if you even don't, oftentimes you won't fit into a category perfectly. That's why you're special, right? But fit it into world as we know it, some known categories. And then say, and this is why we're completely different. Because that helps to at least get us in the right mind space, because we're trying to categorize, we're trying to compare, and kind of do that quick little analysis. So that's a great place to kind of just start that quick foundation and then talk about all the ways that you're different.
Yeah, a little bit on that too. At an early stage company, there's not a whole lot you can go off of in terms of metrics and how you've executed and things like that. So much of what we look at an early stage is the team. So I think it's just really also important to not be shy in terms of kind of really giving your own, why you guys are the best ones, the only ones to actually create this product. I think really emphasizing that's important.
I'd like to add, most of you guys did a great job in describing how the product works, but I'm always looking to see how the business works. And most of my questions were around what do you charge and who pays for what, and I would put that up near the top. And later you can get into exactly how the product works, especially on the technical level.
I'm just curious, how many judges here, is this your first time really taking a look at some New Mexican-based startups? Or have you guys been doing this for a minute?
Yep. Greyhawk has made New Mexico investments in the past.
We led the investment into Descartes Labs. We're based in San Francisco. We led that investment, and then we've also recently done an investment called Crossbow, which I'm sure some of you have heard about.
I'm kind of curious. I want to pick on Hall because I used to roll with Hall back in Austin when I lived out there, and used to run a thing called Tech Ranch. And it's good to see you, Hall. Thanks for coming out and making this connection. What's your ties with New Mexico? Is this the kind of the first thing?
I've worked with several startups in the past, some from the University of New Mexico, some from just Santa Fe and Albuquerque. And then I used to work for a company called National Instruments, and we did a lot with companies in and around Sandia National Lab. So went out there once in a while to meet with people and saw the deals coming up. So, you know, we had some experience with them, but we work across the country, so we're spread around a little bit too.
Very cool. I need to get your toolbox for the entrepreneurs in our accelerator or activated and accelerator. I'll have to shoot you an email later.
Sure. Glad to connect and help. It's a great group that you have there.
Well, I've had an exhausting afternoon being Zoom ninja. So my brain is about fried, getting, hundreds of messages left and right. Give me this permission, give me that permission. So if you ever need any help with Zoom ninjaing, I'm happy to help you out with that. Hopefully it was a pretty smooth experience, considering we were using the meeting version of Zoom. And so I'm going to ask for a request because all these entrepreneurs are asking for requests. I've got a request. And so my request is I need 100 subscribers to my YouTube channel so I can lock down the branding domain. And so my request, I know it's a little selfish, but hey, you got to be a little selfish when you're an entrepreneur. You got to be confidant. I'm going to ask y'all to go to this link here and give me a big like. And if you don't actually like me, that's okay. Give me a like anyways, just so I can get 100 likes and then lock down my my actual brand. That would be nice. And so here is the link inside the chat right there. If you wouldn't mind going there and giving us a subscribe, that would be absolutely wonderful. You'll also receive a notification once this video is uploaded to that platform. Again, there is a playlist called Balloon Pitch 2020 that you can see all the individual pitches in there as well. So if you want to share that with any of your colleagues at your fund, or you want to share the word about a wonderful New Mexican startup, you're able to share those individual links or the playlist. And again, this recording will be uploaded once I download it and process it. And so that's my request. And I appreciate your guys' patience as we've been figuring out how to do this
We figured it out. We have figured it out.
Great.
Dan,
Timing.
thank you.
Thank you.
I hope
TJ.
if Dan bothered you, let me know and I'll work on it. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out. We're 20 minutes late. Shame on me, but I had a good time. I hope you did. All right. I've even got a sound effect here. You hear that? All right. In third place for Balloon Pitch 2020, earning a prize of $1,500. Please give a round of applause to Osazda Energy.
All right. Osazda.
Congratulations, Osazda. Great pitch, great promise in what you are doing. In second place, Balloon Pitch 2020, earning a prize of $2,500. Cheaper.
Right.
Development Group. Nice work to both of those companies. And the grand finale, earning a prize of $5,000, non-dilutive capital, and a ride in the balloon bounce. Please give it up for Parting Stone. Congratulations, Team Parting Stone. You like my high-tech announcement post here. Harold's going to take care of you winners and get you all paid up ASAP so you can put that money to work for your businesses. Have we done crowd favorite, Dan? Did I miss that?
No, I didn't know. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to do that or if you wanted to do that.
All right, let's do it because we're going to lose people quick. So thank you all for hanging in there the whole time. Dan, Heron, who is our crowd favorite?
Well, I'm a tech geek, Data Dan, so here's the results, transparency. Congratulations, Parting Stone, for 21%. Tough, close with Quotient. But these are all wonderful startups. Be sure to check these folks out online. You can find the links at the blog post at avqid.com. TJ?
Fantastic. Parting Stone wins crowd favorite, agrees with the judges on the winner. What's an interesting factoid there? Everybody's a winner because today we made some great connections. Last thing I'll mention is that judges and companies, feel free to engage, but I will say we're going to take those high medium scores of interest and investment and broker some email introductions to take that weight off of your shoulders. So have a great weekend. We'll do that over the weekend and Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. High off the energy of entrepreneurship here in New Mexico. Judges and sponsors, can't thank you enough. Rook Advisors and Joel Long, thank you for stepping up as our primary sponsor to make this happen. And all of our other sponsors, fantastic support. Can't thank you enough. Everybody, elevate your pitch. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon here in New Mexico. Have a great one, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Great event.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations. Great event.
Thanks, everyone.
My name is